Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Burns Views. My name is John, as always, and today we were talking about Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, with Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson, and oh my god guys, what a great week for movies. Fall is officially here, the movies are back, and better than ever. I saw so many films this past week. I saw this, I saw No Time to Die right before seeing this, Addams Family Part 2, The Guilty with Jake Gyllenhaal, which is coming to Netflix, and I'm covering every single episode of Foundation on Apple TV+. If you want to see all those videos, be sure to subscribe, ring that bell, you know the deal, and let's waste no time as we talk about Venom Part 2. Now, going into positives, the greatest thing I can say about this movie is that it's fun. The first movie that I saw a couple years ago, I thought it was very dark, brooding. Riz Ahmed plays the villain in that movie. You can barely see him, he's forgettable, and it's just, it felt very generic. It wasn't the Venom that I knew from the comics and from the Saturday morning cartoon that used to play in the 90s. It just felt kind of bland and forgettable. Very much a Sony film and not an MCU movie. Or at least somewhere in the middle. This movie is a vast improvement. You got Andy Serkis directing, and he really kind of blends Evil Dead Part 2 with The Mask, Jim Carrey's movie from the 90s. It has that type of slapsticky hijinks to it, and it's a lot of fun. I think you could actually take Venom and Eddie Brock, and you can get rid of Jeff Dunham. You can put these guys on a stage, and they can just crack jokes all week long, because that's kind of what this movie is. It's just Venom trolling the hell out of Eddie Brock. He is like the tempter. He is like this little troll who just keeps, you know, pushing at him. But he also has like an innocent quality to him too, because he is like a symbiote. He kind of reminded me of like a character that you might see in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's very, even though he's eating people's heads, he seems like a child in so many ways, and that's something that I kind of got from like the Saturday morning cartoons and the comics. So I think they did a great job of doing a better job with Venom. I feel like they got Venom right this time. They finally got Venom right. And speaking about the visual effects, they're so much better. They're so much better. You couldn't see anything in that first movie. It was very shadowed. Riz Ahmed is a forgettable villain, and I just found it incredibly bland. The colors really pop, kind of like more of like an MCU kind of movie. And is it an MCU movie? I'll talk about that later. But man, it's just a beautiful looking movie to look at. Going into the cast, of course, you got Tom Hardy coming back, and I think he does a great job really playing up the character of Venom way more than he did in the first one. Every now and then I would listen to him and I'm like, that sounds just like Bane. Every now and then he'd get a little bit slightly British, and I'm like, that you sound like you're slipping back into Bane, my friend. But you know what? No complaints. It was a lot of fun. Woody Harrelson is basically channeling his inner Mickey and Mallory from Natural Born Killers 1993, and that's all you really want him to do. You want him to revert to that serial killer that's very charismatic and very likable, and he does a great job. He does exactly what we were looking for him to do, and I thought it was great. Now, with that said, there is one scene in particular that made me wonder, why didn't they just use footage from 1993's Natural Born Killers the same way they lifted footage of Samuel Jackson from The Negotiator, I think they did, and just de-age him? I'm sure the budget was maybe a little bit tighter, but they actually recast Woody Harrelson for a flashback that takes place in 93, and he's dubbed over, and it's like weird, because we know Woody Harrelson from 93. Some of his biggest movies came out in 1993. Why didn't they just de-age him? I feel like it would have been the easiest thing to do, but that's a small nitpick. Woody Harrelson is great, and he brings a new complexity that I didn't expect with the character. It's actually a little bit of a love story. He's in love with his ex-girlfriend, or on-girlfriend, who's also imprisoned, the character of Shriek, played by Naomie Harris, who's also, look, she's having a great week. She's in No Time to Die as well, returning as Moneypenny. That will be out next week, and of course I have the review right here. I just posted it this morning, and they're great together. Although she's kind of a weird character in this one. It kind of reminded me of like Calypso, a character she played in Pirates of the Caribbean, and Ghost from Ant-Man the Wasp. Or the other character who screams, what was it, like Black Canary or something like that from Birds of Prey. She's a wonky character, and there's a lot of wonky stuff that goes on in this movie, and that's totally fine. It's still a lot of fun. The only thing I didn't really like about it was the relationship that Tom Hardy has with Michelle Williams' character. It feels very It's something they did in the first movie I didn't like, and now they're doing it in this one, and I don't even know why Eddie Brock has to have a love interest. I mean, he doesn't even really have a love interest. It's like the whole time, like the first movie, the second movie, it's like he's kind of with Michelle Williams, but not really, and they're always breaking up, and now she's engaged to somebody else, and it's a whole beeline story plot that I didn't care about. You know, it was kind of cringy. It was kind of like the same type of dynamic that I remember seeing in those Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, like the third one especially. It's just like, skip, we don't need it. But that's a nitpick. The action is a lot of fun. I loved watching Woody Harrelson and Tom Hardy go head to head. It's a little campy, it's a little over the top. It's a lot over the top, but it's a lot of fun to watch. It's probably not a movie that you'd want to go out and buy and own, but it's still really enjoyable. If you like Evil Dead Part 2, if you like that type of Sam Raimi type of humor, I think you're going to enjoy the hell out of it, and that's why I'm going to give Venom, Let There Be Carnage, a B+. It's not the most memorable movie in the world, but it was a hell of a fun time watching it, and I highly recommend it. Go see it in IMAX if you can. It looks great on the big screen. The visuals are so much better. You can actually see what's going on. I wouldn't miss this one. The movies are back, baby. Oh, and before I forget, there is, of course, going to be a third Venom, because Tom Hardy just signed on for a third one. And I'm sure you're probably wondering about that post-credit scene. It's actually a mid-credit scene that people just won't stop talking about it. I've been avoiding the internet all week, because people have been like, hey, they kind of spoil stuff on Twitter. Don't go there. So I'm not going to spoil it here, but I am going to do an add-on video right here talking about that clip, because I got some thoughts on it. It's a mid-credit scene. It's definitely going to have some effects down the road. So we can talk about it in this video right here. You can click that button. But as of now, I thought, you know, hey, this is pretty good. I enjoyed that they didn't put it at the end of the credits. There is no after-credits scene, but there is a mid-credits scene. So be sure to stick around the theater. It was a lot of fun. And until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. I just hit 5K. We have so many other videos lined up over here. And until next time, thank you so much. I've been John. You've just been burned, and we will see you next time.